So in the last meeting, we we were talking about Excel, but we couldn't finish it. So I just said, let me use this second week for the continuation, just to wrap it up and talk about some other important things. And one of the things I mentioned was how to bring in a data, especially data that we've collected already. One of them is this survey here. And I mentioned one thing that I said, um, for every of our data, there is always header. So the first line here is the header, which is going to be what will give us information about every of the column. For this timestamp now, is telling us information about the data, about the date and time that this information was collected. Same thing with the names, same thing with the email. So for every of your data that you have, you must have a header that will be giving you like an appropriate information about what the whole data is
My
about.
network, you mean?
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I
okay.
can.
Yes. So even if you have location, like in just looking at the location now, you can easily predict what the information about location is going to be talking about, right? So you want to have one thing you need to do is you must have an appropriate name you want to give for your header, right? So um for every information, for example, now timestamp, it is expected that every other information that will be under the timestamp is going to be talking about date. Same thing as name, right? You cannot say you have a name here and you will be having email address under your name, right? It's going to be a mistake, right? So the rule of thumb is that for every header, there must be unique information about it. So email address, you're not supposed to have information about students or profession under email address, like something like that. So, and last week I was talking about what's it called? I was talking about some Excel functions that we use. And Excel has a lot of functions based on the kind of data we are talking about. Can user use a text data or alphabet, like I mentioned. You can use numerical data and excuse me, you can use numerical data or you can use Boolean, which is Boolean is talking about true or false. And then yes, these are the different, or you can also be date, can also be date. So these are the different data that we have. For each of these data, for each of these data type, for each of these data type, there are what we call functions that are specific to them. So if you are working with text, there are different functions that will make you to do a lot of things, right? In your text data that you have, right? There are different functions that will make you do a lot of things under the numeric data as well. But for every of the function you want to use in Excel, the first thing you need to know is that you must start with equal to. You must start with equal to. So whenever you want to start anything in Excel, so far it is a function, you must start with equal to. Equal to will make Excel to know that, okay, you are about to call a function. If you don't start with equal to, Excel will just believe that you just want to do anything. Excel will believe that you just want to do anything. And one of the functions that I mentioned, because I told us that whenever we are starting Excel, right, and whenever we are starting data analytics, we have a process asking of questions and preparing our data and then processing our data, right? One of the ways of processing our data is to clean the data because sometimes we have a very dirty data. Please let's meet our mic. So we have a very dirty data. So in this situation, one of the examples I was talking about last week was I said we have AB and we also have A, B. One of Excel, you can see that all of these ones here, they are all text, they are all alphabet, right? One of the things we can do is to call Excel function. Let's say I want to turn this out small letters now. I want to turn everything to capital letter. How do I do it? I can use Excel function. So I'll go to another cell, anywhere, I can pick anywhere, but I'm picking the one in front of it. I'll press my equal to. Immediately I press my equal to, I'm telling Excel that whatever follows is me trying to call a function in Excel. And there is a function in the Excel called upper. upper. Immediately I'm typing it, you see that Excel will be giving me an example of what I'm trying to do. I type U. Excel is going to give me different functions that start with U. I type P. Excel will immediately show me an example. And if you look at it, this thing that Excel is showing you below your cell, below this N6 cell, is called Excel intelligence. Is like Excel giving you suggestions of what you are likely to do. So now the explanation there is that convert a text string to all uppercase. So now after I type immediately you type it like this, you can press your tab key. I think I didn't type everything finish. I'm going to do it again. I just type UP. Excel has given me a suggestion. Now I know that this suggestion here is what I really want to do. I'm going to press my tab. So after this is how to call the function. After typing everything, you open a bracket. Now, if you open a bracket, you now move your mouse to click on the particular cell that you want to turn to uppercase. When you click on that cell, you can then close your bracket. Remember to always close your bracket when you open it. You write the function. After writing the name of that function, open your bracket. You pick the cell where the particular text that you want to turn to uppercase is, and you close your bracket and you press enter. Excel will now turn this particular small lowercase into uppercase. Same thing with when you have it in uppercase. You can do equal to, instead of upper, now this time is going to be lower. Immediately I type L, Excel is going to give me a lot of functions that start with L. Based on looking at it, you'll be seeing some that you recognize. Large, for example, now log, now you recognize log. Log is in mathematics, so it deals with number, right? We have a whole lot of them that start with L. And another one we have here is lower. This is the one we want to pick. So we'll continue typing LO W. Immediately we get to W, Excel is going to give us a suggestion. Rather than typing everything, I can continue to type everything, right? ER. When I finish typing, I open my bracket. I just did it manually. Or if I see that Excel has given me what I want, I can press my tab on my laptop or my keyboard, and it's going to continue it for me. And it's going to open the bracket for me when I press tab. Immediately the bracket is open, I will go and click on that particular cell where what I want to transform to lowercase is. I'm going to click on it. Again, don't forget to always close your bracket. When you have picked the particular word that you want to convert into smaller letter, you close your bracket. After closing your bracket, you press enter. It's going to convert this one into smaller case. And there is another one, we call it, let's say everything is written in capital letter, right? Or let's say I have read one. Or let's say Lagos. I have Lagos in capital letter, but I want my Lagos to be written in this way, in the proper way. This is the proper way where you write, like the first letter is alphabet, while the remaining is lowercase. This is the proper way of writing it, rather than writing everything in capital letter. So this is the right way to do it. You press equal to. Now we've talked about upper, lower. The third one is proper. The third one is proper. Now look at the explanation of Excel. Convert a text string to a proper case. The first letter in each word to uppercase and all other letters to lowercase. So that means that if we have more than one, if we have more than one letter in this particular place, let's say we have Lagos State, for example. Now, this is what Excel is going to do. If we have Lagos State, Excel is going to, if we use the proper, it's going to convert every word into a proper case by assigning the first letter to a capital letter and the remaining words in it small letter. Then when you get to state, S is also going to take uppercase, while the remaining letters is going to take lowercase. So let's look at that, how that works. Again, we start with your equal to sign. Don't always forget to start with equal to sign. You type your function proper, It doesn't matter if you start with capital letter or with cap locks or not. It's still going to give it. Now again, Excel has given me a suggestion. I'm going to click on my tab. It has opened a bracket for me. I'm just going to select that particular cell where my word is, Lagos State. I've selected it. Again, I'll close my bracket. When I close my bracket, I press enter. Now, Excel has made it to be proper case for me. This is part of data cleaning. This is part of data cleaning. And why do we need it? This is the reason why we need it. Let's take, for example, now, this is the first task we are going to do now. Like I said, we have a lot of us that have our names written in different ways and all of those things. We have people that wrote their name in capital letter. We have people that, yes, and all of that, right? So this is one of the things we will do to clean our data, right? So another one is that, so let me tell us some of the data cleaning process, because when you are cleaning your data, you are not just looking for just one thing. There are a lot of things you are going to be looking for, because your, like I mentioned, your data can be in different form, and the functions you'll be calling for text is different from the one you'll be calling for numbers, is different from the one you'll be calling for dates as well. So how do you clean for dates? For example, now this information here contains both time. If you look at this, if you look at the formula bar here, it contains the date, it contains the time, including PM, and it contains where the data is collected from, like the location, which is GMT plus one, right? The code, geographical code, GMT plus one, right? Normally, we might not need all of this information. We just want everything to be in date. One of the first things we can do here is that we know that the information in column A, I'm selecting just column A. I came to this, I moved my arrow to the A, letter A at the top here. I selected it to select everything, right? And I want it to just be date. I don't want to include maybe the date, time, and everything. So what I will just do is that I will come to my home tab here, home tab, and I will come to the number ribbon. Number ribbon. Under it, we'll see general here. When we click on general, it will show us a lot and different types of data. General is that no specific format. We have number format, currency, accounting, short date, long date, time, percentage, fraction, scientific, and text. These are the different data types. There are other data types as well, but these are some of them. Some of these data types are like, some of them are like still the same thing. We are still talking about the same thing, because if we are talking of fraction, we are still talking about number. It's just that it's number in different form. But now I want to convert my date into a short date. Normally, we are supposed to have all of these dates here. Immediately selecting this, we are supposed to have it in short form, right? But we have to do it manually in order to remove this GMT and everything like this. So how do we do it? One of the things we want to do is that we have to add a new column to each after each of the columns that we have, so that we can clean our data properly. Again, we have to add a column after each of the column that we have here in order to clean our data properly. So if you want to add a column after column A, I'm going to select column B. How am I selecting it? I'm clicking on the letter B at the top here, and I'm going to right click it, and I'm clicking on insert. This is going to insert a column before the letter A, or after the letter A, sorry. Again, if I want to add one after letter C, I'll click on letter D, right click, and click on enter. So I'm going to do it for each of the columns. So I'm just inserting one column after it. Yes. So these are all the different columns that we have. So I've inserted an empty column in front of every of these columns here because I want to clean the data. So how am I going to do it? Let's say I want to convert this particular date now. I want to convert it to um, only date where the time will not be showing. One of the functions I can use is the date function. There's a function in Excel called date. So I'm going to press equal to, and I'm going to type date. So it says returns the number that represents the date in Microsoft Excel date time code. And I'm going to press tab. Okay, this is like doing it separately. Another method we can use is that we can select all of our data, select all of our data. How did I select everything? You can select all your data, you click on the first one, and you move your mouse to the edge of the first cell. Immediately you move your mouse to the edge of the first cell, it's going to change to a dark plus sign. Your mouse cursor is going to change to a dark plus sign. When it's changed to a dark plus sign, that is when you know that you are ready to pick something. Now you can double click it and drag it down. Now you've selected everything. You can now come to select more number, come to the column, the number ribbon under the home tab, click on this drop down and select more number format. Now it's going to show us how we want this date to show. We can select different method, how we want it to show. We can also select this, so this is the sample. We can select this method here. Okay, so when we click on custom, for example, we have to select how we want our date to show. The first one is the month, the date, and the year. But we don't want these other ones to show. But if we also want it in like a different format, maybe we want the date, the day, the month, and the year, we can also specify here. So these are the different methods of selecting, the data. So let's say we picked the month, the date, and the year, for example. We click on OK. Normally, it is expected to clean off this data here. Mm, okay, so let me just use a different method to separate the time and the date. So now we have this date here. If you look at, there is a space in between the date and the time. So one of the things we can do here is to say equal to, and we'll pick, let's say we want to pick, okay. So I'm looking for the best way to change this number format to only date. Um, I'm looking for the best way to change it to date. Okay. Okay, let's leave that and come back to it. Let's leave this. Let's focus on this name now. In order to to correct these names that we have here to proper case. Hello? Hello, can we hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. In order to convert these names here to a proper case, I mentioned the proper case where the first letter of each word. I know some of these words here, some of them are already in proper case, right? In order to convert them to proper case, we are just going to use equal to proper. Just like I've given example here, and we are going to select the first name here. We close our bracket and then we press enter. Again, we don't have to do it for every of each rows that we have here. Since Excel has some unique ways of doing things, right? So just like I'm explained here that we want to select all of our data. If you want to fill our data down, that means whatever you have done for this particular cell, Augustine, can you mute your mic?
Okay. All right.
Thank you. So whatever you have done for this particular cell C2, you want it to be done to all other names that we have here. So after doing it, which is the proper, you can now drag it down. How did I drag it down? Again, you move your mouse to the edge, to the corner here, the down corner, bottom right corner here. It will change to this dark plus sign, and you now drag it down. You drag it down to the last column, and it's going to do everything for you. Now, if you look at whatever is in this particular column, you see that it's the proper case and selecting the particular cell reference, which is C47. Now, everything, including those that wrote in capital letter, everything has been converted into a proper case. Now, if I can enlarge my column now we can see the name that it is only the first letter of each name that is now in capital letter. Everything, including this one, we have everything in proper case. We have everything in proper case, right? So another thing we might want to consider is that maybe we want to separate the two names, right? Maybe instead of having just name, we want to have the first name and last name, something like that. So, but we'll come back to that. So just like we have done for the name, we can also do the proper case for the email address, or we'll do lowercase for email address, because lowercase email address is expected to be all lowercase, right? It's expected to be all lowercase. So for we just despite that, we still have people that like put their email address in first. The first letter is in uppercase. So again, we can use proper, just like we have done for this one. We'll say equal to. Again, don't forget to always start with your equal to sign. Proper, and then we select the particular cell that we want to turn into. So instead of using proper, like I said, we are not trying to write everything the first one in capital letter. So we want everything to be in lowercase. We want everything to be in lowercase. So after typing that, I'm going to close my bracket and then press enter. Now I can fill it down. Another way in which you can fill your column down is when you move your mouse to the corner here and it changes to dark plus sign, you can double click it. So rather than dragging it down, especially if you have like a whole lot of columns and rows, rather like millions of rows, you cannot start dragging it down, for example, and start dragging everything down, right? So you have to, especially if it's like maybe 500, you just keep going. So one thing you can do is that after doing the first one, you move your mouse to the corner here. It will change to this dark plus sign. Double click it. It's going to fill it down for you. Now, if you look at all of the names, even those ones that have first letter to the capital letter, everything has been changed to like a proper case. Now, when you are dealing with data that you collected, there are a lot of things that might happen to the data. One of them is this case here, right? Look at this particular one. In fact, we don't know all of these jargons that has been written here, but it might be because maybe someone made a mistake. In fact, it can also be that maybe some people used emoji while they were filling the form. but we are still talking about the same thing. Can someone tell me if this blue and this blue, they are different? No, they are not. It's still talking about the same blue. But Excel is going to believe that they are different. Why? Because the way it is written, one is written in capital letter, the other is written in a proper case, and one has like some signs, some characters. We call it character that we don't know. In fact, some have things that we don't even know if they exist, right? So, um, if I want to test something now, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. And here I'm trying to talk about what we call duplicate. I'm trying to talk about what we call duplicates here. Duplicate is like when you have something that are the same thing. Okay. The meeting is about to end now. I will send a link to the group now so we can join that link. You can join the link when this meeting ends. So I want to talk about duplicates. Excuse me. If, for example, we have blue and we have another one, blue. So the question now is that this blue and this blue, are they the same thing? We might want to say yes, they are the same thing. But I can tell you for a fact that this blue here is different from this blue here, according to Excel. How can we know if something is different? Now, if you want to know if something is different, is different or is the same thing, normally, if this thing is the same thing, Excel is supposed to delete one. For example, if you have 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, and you know that these two here, these two you have here, they are duplicates, right? They are the same thing. And you want Excel to delete one for you. You only want to have unique ones. You will select everything here, right? And you now come to data, data tab. When you click on data tab, you now come to under data tools. Under your data tab, data tools. You now look for remove duplicates. Excel Intelligence is going to explain what remove duplicate does. It deletes duplicate rows from a sheet. You can pick which columns should be checked for duplicate information. So now I've selected this one and I'm now going to click on remove duplicate. It's going to ask some questions. I'm going to click on OK. So look at what Excel brought for me. One duplicate value found and removed. 4 unique values remain. Note that count may include empty cells, spaces, etc. It's still giving you options. But just know that the two that I saw that they are the same thing, Excel has removed it. Now, normally, if this blue here is the same thing as this blue here, Excel is supposed to remove one. Now, I'm just going to do the same thing that I did here, and I'm expecting Excel to remove one. Now, if I select this now and I click on remove duplicate, it's still going to ask questions if I want to select more or is this particular column S. I'm going to click OK. Excel did not find any duplicate. No duplicate value found. Why is that? The reason is that when I typed the first blue, I just type blue and I move on to the next one. But when I type the second blue, after typing the blue, I type space after it. I typed space after it, but you cannot see the space. So that is one of the things that might happen. You see all of the things that we have here, there are some spaces there that we cannot see, maybe before or after typing. So it's also part of our data cleaning. If you want to clean your data to remove any characters like this that we have here or any spaces that we have here from it that are not normal letters that we have or normal numbers or any spaces that might be maybe in between or maybe excess spaces that are not supposed to be there. Don't worry about the spaces in between your name. Excel is going to know that there is supposed to be a space between two words. But when you now have more than one space between two words, Excel is going to adjust it to just a single space. So what are those what are those functions? The functions that you use to remove spaces, to remove unwanted characters from your text or from your data is one of them is um, clean. Another one is trim. Trying to get this eye because I'm always having issues with. Excuse me. Another one is trim. So if you want to clean your data, you have to use clean and trim, especially for your text data. You have to use this function. How do you use it? You have to next one in another. Take for example now, if I want to remove any okay, let me use this one as example, favorite color. I now want to remove any excess space, maybe or unwanted character from it. I'm just going to say equal to clean. So you see what Excel does when it cleans. It removes all non-printable characters from text. Non-printable characters are those things that they are not supposed to be showing. They are not letters, right? They are like maybe emojis that when you now bring it into Excel, Excel will read it as something that is like maybe a normal letter or be giving you unwanted sign. You clean it. You can do that first and then trim, or you can also type trim inside your clean. So what does that do? It removes all spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. It knows that there's supposed to be like a single space between your words, but it removes any other excess spaces in between text string. I'm also going to press tab. So what is this doing now? When I now click my word that I want to clean and trim, and I close brackets, you see that I've done different things, different from what I've been doing initially. I've put two functions together. This what I've done here is called nested functions. So Excel is going to do the inner ones first. It's going to trim my data. After trimming my data, it's now going to clean the trimmed data. In fact, I can even add another one to it now. Before my clean, I'll put proper and I'll open my brackets. So Excel will trim my data. After cleaning the trimmed data, after trimming the data, Excel is now going to clean the trimmed data. After cleaning the trimmed data, Excel is now going to put the cleaned and trimmed data into its proper case. Now, don't forget the number of brackets that you open for each of the functions. At the end of selecting the particular word, you have to close them. So you have to close for trim, close for clean, and then close for proper. So this is me putting three different Excel functions, text functions, into a single one. And then I press enter. Now, if there is any excess space or anything here, Excel would have cleaned it. Now, how do we know this? We will then drag this down to fill it for other ones that we have here. Or we can just press, after moving our mouse here, we'll double tap it like this. So we see that Excel has tried to, one, convert the unwanted tab. I'm coming with it. Okay. It has tried to clean the unwanted, but despite using the clean and trim, we still have this unwanted sign and the characters inside our data. So one other way to do that is to manually remove it if it's something you can see here, right? So which is what explains that data cleaning is like the major thing that takes the time of an analyst. You can spend like 70% of the time you use in data analytics to clean data because you have to just be looking for where exactly to clean and all of that. I think the time is about to end now. We have to join the second link. I'll send it to the group. So the amount of time you use to clean the data. So trim and clean is used to clean your data, to remove excess spaces if there is any, and also remove unwanted characters from your data. Just that for this particular, for this 2 year we have here, it has not been able to remove it. Excel has not been able to remove it. Okay. So I'm just seeing a lot of places where there can be adjustments.